Good afternoon, traders. Welcome to our regular weekly outlook. We had more than 200 people register, so I hope by the end of the webinar, we should get more than 200 people in the room. People are coming in slowly. We do have about 117 people in the room so far. So hopefully more. And a lot of people do watch it over the weekends and on YouTube. It will be there. So there's no need to wait for anyone. Let's go start. Dollar index. I'm going to go pretty fast with those trades that I think, basic thing what we are doing, and then we're gonna stop on those that I think are very important for long-term trades for you guys, right? Nothing new in the dollar index. If you've been following me for the last year or two, you would see that we've been doing this pretty nice. And this upside is nothing new. All of you remember, it's this chart. I didn't have to even update this chart, right? This is just doing what we expected to do. So when there's a big move up here, and then we're going to look for the very, very big move down, this move should actually bring it back to retest this low. Right. So let's see how it goes. There's a big move to the upside. That is what we're looking at. And that is why the euro downside was no secret. So let's bring this back to the 4-hour. This trade to the downside was no big deal, although when I posted this a little early, and sometimes we see, just so that I'll spend a couple minutes on this one so you guys would understand how market structure works, right? Market structure says that you see the correction, and what we do in most of our training session is teach our traders how to recognize this, how to understand what's happening in there, because that is the problem. The problem is not catching the impulse. The problem is not the impulse. The impulse will go. The problem is always it's inside of here, understanding what's happened inside of the corrective structure and all time frame. And that is what we do. We train you to do that so that you can see how it's going. Then we train you how to trade it. Right? So basically, sometimes these structures are very, very complex. So we can tell very early that this is a corrective structure, which means we're going to be looking for a next impulse to the downside. And by early, I mean sometimes a year early, we can see a big structure coming, like on the Aussie New Zealand. I just show you, right? This one was a pretty small term chart. This was a 1-hour chart. So we saw this coming, and it came. This did break. Some of our traders were in this one. Let me just show you that trade so that people wouldn't say you ignore it. This break, some of our traders got in here, and when this started to happen, we very clearly said, take off the trade. It's not a good trade. If you get break even, take it off, because there's a possibility for more up here and more up here, right? We're looking for that one more big wave up when that happened. So now we've got a very clear structure, and there was still a possibility for one more up here if this didn't break. So if you were in the trade, what you had to do was move your stop and see what happens. Now it breaks, so I think we're clearly going down. We've got an impulse here, and we've got an impulse going down. I'm expecting them to go all the way to this low and possibly break that low. So when it breaks this low, it's not going to go in a straight line. So please don't expect if you sell here, this thing is going to do that. It doesn't travel like that, right? You're going to get corrections along the way. So this may be the first place you're going to get some corrections. And if it comes, we would look for it to come back to this level. At this point here, we will decide what that bigger structure, that weekly structure is doing. And we will make decisions what to do. So there will be a number of trade setups going down there if it goes. Like there were a number of trade setups going up here, and there were a number of trade setups coming down here. Right? This was a sell setup. There was a sell setup from the top here in the 60 minute. You will not see it in this time frame. There was this setup that we were saying, watch this structure. This structure will break out for a buy. I think this is in the daily, and we had it in the 240 as well. Right? You can see these structures, and once you can identify them, once you're trained to do that, right? Once you're trained to identify these breakouts when they're going to come, you're going to get them. We may be, when I post the chart, it may be a little early. Right? I may post it because I see the pattern way before. And I said, okay, look for this breakout. It's going to happen. Some traders just decide that that is their opportunity to become the best troller in the world, right? It's sometimes funny, it's sometimes not. And you look at them, right? So let's look at this. Watch it. You're going to get a little pullback. You're going to get this trade. There are rare instances when this correction, let me take this off. I don't want to go into the teaching mode right now, but there are rare instances when this becomes a three-wave pattern. A 1, 2, 3, and then start to go back up. We can also identify that. Right now, I don't think that is what they're doing. But if this structure starts to change coming down, we can identify it in a lower time frame. That is something I will post if I see that change. Right now, I don't see that change. So until it gets to this point, I'm very convinced that this is going to come down. So you're looking for a trade down. Dollar index is also giving us a clue that that is very possible, that this could go up all the way to the top here. First, we'll be looking for it to retest this top. So you still have some more to the upside if there is going to be a structural change, right? Would I enter the top of a corrective channel? We do that pretty often. We enter trades sometime way before I even post some of those trades in TradingView, like the New Zealand trade. We didn't post this trade, although we entered this trade way at the top here, right? We entered that trade way at the top here. Once we saw that we were at the top of this channel and we had confirmation that they're making an impulse and a correction, we got in that trade there, right? So we do that, but not all those trades will be on TradingView, right? So let's go back to what we're doing. Can you keep, if everybody can keep your questions to the end, would be wonderful. So this is going really good. After a nice correction, you're going to get a very sharp impulse. That is what we look for. Pung, very simple. Our traders took this on the 618 here. So let me just go. Remember when we took the buy here, we took a loss, right? I think the buy was on a breakout somewhere on one of these trades here. I think breakout here or something like that. And we took a loss on this one, right? When it breaks this channel. So remember what I said. Wait for the correction up. Let it make a flag up and then sell it. Well, we sold it off the 618 because that is one of our strategies. And our traders, our target, as you can see, is right down at the 270 here. That is where we will start to look for structural change. And if it keeps going down, we will just move stops and stay in this thing. Now, if this is coming down, it could come, and there is a possibility it come to retest this low here. This may be one of two types of structure. This still remains your impulse as the A wave. Either we're looking at a 1, 2, 3 for a flat where the C didn't go above the A and this is coming down, or either we are still in the B wave and the B wave has a 1, 2, 3 wave structure and then go back up. I think we're still in the B wave. I'm a little convinced that we're still in that B wave. So that this pattern here will eventually go back up like this and then come down here like this one did. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. We're anticipating a 1, a 2, and a 3 before this goes back up sharply. So watch for this to be a much longer sideways structure. So the sell on this, if you're in it, you may want to watch the low here. That after that, you could get a deeper correction like this did and like this came down before you go, right? Mr. Elliott, can you please keep your questions for the end? I know you're very enthusiastic about something, especially with your putting Mr. Elliott Wave in your name. I hope you're not a troll, and I hope you don't start doing that. Please keep your questions for the end, right? Because if you do otherwise, I'll remove you from the room. Thank you very much. Let's go. Aussie. Aussie, if all of you have been following me for a while, you would know that we kept saying, watch this to come down, although some traders were saying, well, this is going to go up. One trader even, right, why are you saying it's going to go down? It's in a very big uptrend, right? Right, it's in a very big uptrend. So watch this, it's coming. What we don't know as yet, and I actually pose this chart because this is important, and a lot of traders actually lose their money because of this. I'm going to take a second here, skip this, and go to the CAD to show you an example. How many people were selling the top of the CAD? How many traders in TradingView try to sell the tops of the chart? Try here, sell here, sell here. They were trying to sell that top crazy, and they're all going to lose it because that thing is still going up. And it is likely going to still go up, right? The reason it's going to still go up because the structure is not ended. This structure is not ended. We are in a corrective structure here. And there's a very good, we would want to break the top minimum, and there's a chance it could go to that 50 before it comes down. So it is not ended. The top is still, you can't pick the top. Let me break this simple to you guys. I don't know what type of strategy you trade, but I don't care what type of strategy is it. Non-strategy is able to pick the top of a move because you don't know where the top is, right? Nobody knows where the top is. That means you wait for some kind of confirmation. It doesn't matter how accurate your strategies, your analysis are. You have to wait for that confirmation before you actually start trading. Traders will try to pick top. A lot of them are no longer picking anything, right? Because they did, you know, you would check 100 of those charts that they're trying to pick up on and see what happens. Wait for the confirmation that it has finally made the top and it's turning. And that turning confirmation, if you're in my webinar, you would always look impulse, correction, impulse. This is your chance that you may be turning. And that is why in the EuroCAD, I said, wait for that flag. Then sell the breakout of the flag. That's your confirmation. Don't try to pick tops, guys. Go take 100 charts of those guys who are picking tops, and you're going to see the results. It's not working. Nobody can tell. No system, no strategy, no analytical tool can tell you that is the top. It's not possible, right? So what you have to do is trade when you have confirmation of the target, of the trade, the market moving in one direction or the other. Wait for the confirmation. This is not giving us confirmation. So go back to the Aussie, the one. Don't try to pick tops. Don't try to sell because you think that because it breaks some structure, and if you an imaginary support and resistance. I know I'm going to get a lot of trolling after today again talking about this. There is nothing like support and resistance in the market. If you don't know that, you're going to lose your account and you will learn that there isn't anything like that. You're dealing with data. You're dealing with a chart that is printing data, right? These are data being printed on a chart on two axes for you. There is no support and resistance in it. The data is not random in nature. It moves in a certain patterns. Those patterns are well known. You just have to learn the patterns, understand the behavior of those patterns, and you will have a very high probability of going in the direction with the trade, with the trend. You have to understand the patterns in the chart. Not that there's a support or resistance there. There isn't any in the chart anywhere. It goes into consolidation, not because it hits some support and resistance, because that is what it does. That is how it creates these patterns. That's what happened in real life. And then it takes off again in a trending mode as a very sharp impulse. That is how it moves. There's nothing like support and resistance in the chart. Anybody who tells you that knows very little about how the chart behaves. I don't know how many times I'll have to repeat that before you guys get it. If you stop doing that, you will see the change in your trading. You keep doing that, your account will show you that it's not working. Because there's nothing like support and resistance. It doesn't break any support or break any resistance, so you can sell and buy now. It makes an impulse, a correction, and an impulse. The euro is a perfect example of that. How many support buyers? One guy said it hit support here, I'm buying. It's going to go up. Well, good luck to him with that support he saw there, because it went straight through his support. It actually passed through the support like there was nothing there. Thin air, and that's what it does, because it made an impulse, it made its correction, and it's going to make the next impulse, regardless of whether there's a million support here. You can draw a million imaginary lines there, and it's going to go straight through them. No, the trend lines are not support and resistance. Please, if you're your first time in my webinar, please wait with your questions again to the end. This is the second time I'm telling you. They're not support and resistance. Watch at my previous webinars, you will know. They're pattern lines. So don't do that. And I'm trying to help you when I said wait for it. I know if you sold here and go down, you'll go, oh wow, but I sold and it's going good. No, you're lucky this time. The next time, you're not going to get so lucky. And the next time you will take a big loss, because if you sell here, your stop has to be above that top. This is the only place that the structure will change. This is correction, and nobody says that that correction is going down right now. This correction could come here and go back here and go back there and go back there and be in this move up for the next 6 months before it actually breaks. We don't know that. A good example, I like to show you on live examples. Let me show you a very good live example why that is not so. Right, go back to the daily so you can see it. You couldn't ask for a better example like this. And these are things you learn from example. We got a very nice move. Does this look like the move we had in the Aussie just now? Similar, right? Well, guess what? This was the correction that I thought that time would be going, right? I just showed the guys the chart when we started. Perfect, right? Look at that correction, and we're all going to be buyers because we're going to go like crazy. Yep, all you need is a 3-wave correction, 1, 2, 3, wait for the breakout, and you're in a good trade to heaven. Well, guess what? You never got that. What we have here is a whole year of consolidation, and we are still in it. Look what we have. We have a whole year. We had our 1, 2, 3. It came here, give you a wick there. That wasn't the trigger for us, and started to come down and then go up and come down and go up. And we're how long in it? Let's see, from this point when I published, that was when? I published this way back in 2015-07, and we're in 2016-09. That's how long. If you had bought that and you were waiting for it to go, and luckily if you had a stop at the bottom, you're stopped out. If you didn't, you're still in it because it doesn't go anywhere. Why do you think the Aussie will make a very small correction like this and then start to fall crazily, right? It's going to make a small one like this and go, no, it could be here for months before it goes. That is understanding structure. Wait for it, and when it's ready, you will be in the trade. It's not ready to go. If you jump in now, you would either do two things. You would get a break-even trade if you're lucky, or you will take a loss if you're unlucky. Most of the times you will be unlucky. Trading will teach you that most of the times you're unlucky. Same with the New Zealand. I'm in this trade from here. My stops are still there, break even, and I'm watching this structure. Of course, I would be very happy if this go. I would be one happy person, but I'm very realistic. I don't think it's going to go. But if I see this come here and it starts to go back up, I'm going to move my stop and take off the trade on the break of this one. That is why I'm managing this trade so close. I'm managing it on a 15 minutes. That if it breaks this trend line at any point, I will take off my trade. I'll be out of the trade, let it go up, maybe even in a buy, and then wait for the sell to come back down. So that may take some time. If you're in the trade, and some of you should be in that trade with me, a lot of my traders are in that trade, you can do the same. Monitor this. If it comes to this bottom and they're not breaking the low and they're going up back, you may want to take off the trade. And you can always, if you think you're going to lose, if you think it's still going to break and go without you, then you can put an entry order for a sell under the low, which would be under the trend line. Put it in the daily so you can see that trend line. So it's under that trend. I do think and I do hope that both of them break the Aussie and the New Zealand because I'm in the trade. I'm a little biased to the downside. So I hope that they break now and come here. That's a wish. It might not come true so easy, right? If they do that, at this point, we'll be really watching the trades because there's a high probability for one more up, right? There's a very high probability for one more up. I'm very, well, I should say I'm a little confident that they may make this trade to the downside. Let's see. We don't trade our bias or our confidence. We wait for confirmation in it. So I'm waiting for the confirmation that they're going to break out of there. And if I see that they're going to go into much long-term consolidation, which means they're going to do something that will be more long-term, I'll rather be out of the trade. And then wait for the next entry. I don't want to be stuck in it for a long time because the broker is going to take rollover from. So let's go. US, Swiss. We're not trading this, and I don't advise you to trade it because if you were in my webinar last week, I said stay out of it. It's doing nothing. It's still doing nothing. It's not clear to us the direction as yet. CAD, you want to wait for CAD to break this top. And if CAD breaks that top, there's a high probability we will be looking at this as a running flat, 1, 2, 3. And this is the up move, which could come all the way to about a 50 before it goes down. So you may actually get a pretty big move all the way to that 50 fib. Right, and we may get buy setups in here, which means if it breaks the top and consolidate, if they break this top and make a flag, you want to trade it up. If they break the top and that is all, they're going to reverse it pretty fast. And when they reverse pretty fast, we will all get a nice trade. On the big daily picture, I think all of you know my views. I've already given you. This is an impulse. We're still in this correction here. It could come up to about a 50, and then we'll be looking for the trade down. We don't know how long this will take. But hopefully it's a simple 3-wave correction. And by any means, we'll try to sell the top and watch it come back here. If they're making bigger corrections, when they get here, they will have to come here and then go back up. So we will have enough pips before, we get out of the trade. So there'll be enough reasons to get out once you sell from the top. So you're going to wait for lower degrees impulse. Like we'll watch it to come here, break down, correct, and then we'll get in like we get in New Zealand and watch it come back here. And if it's going up back, we'll exit the trade. Right? It's that simple. It's not that difficult to do. You just have to understand what the structure will do next. So let's see. We're in an uptrend. I still think they will go. Yen, we're trapped in this sideways move, and in our trading room, we sold the yen here. I'm in that sell still. I'm waiting to see whether if it breaks this trend line, I'll exit the trade. If it doesn't break the trend line, watch to see whether they're going to break the low. It's very similar to the euro-yen one we posted. It's a very similar trade. I still don't have an idea what this correction would look like, but I'm pretty sure they're making a very big corrective structure in here. That includes all of this. From here, up, down, up, and I have no idea what's going on there as yet in terms of if they're going to come here or they're going to go back up. Eventually, when the bigger structure is formed, they will tell us, but smaller trades within that structure you can make. And that's what we did. We made a small trade within that structure. Actually, it's not the best choice. The better choice would have been the pound yen or the euro yen, but I chose this one. Some of my traders chose the euro yen because we were looking at all the yen pairs. The pound yen, the euro yen, the Aussie yen, all of them for sell setups. It's very similar structure. I'm going to go through them pretty fast for you guys. Euro yen, similar structure. Pound yen, we looked at this for similar structure. This one to come down. This one already came down much more because the sell on this one would have been from here. So this one actually performed better. I didn't choose that. I don't know if any of my traders chose that. And Aussie yen, I think we were looking at also. Aussie yen for this down move. Aussie yen did not perform that well because it came down and it came right back up. That would have probably been a break-even trade for us. Right? That didn't perform very well. So the best ones were the pound yen, the euro yen, and the dollar yen. This would have been a break-even trade. But there's a second trade we're looking for that is selling right here and watching for it to come back to this low. So for my traders, if I'm not making trade calls, let me make it clear to you, this is not a trade call. I'm explaining what we do in our trading room and how we trade, right? Some of our traders are in this trade here now in the break of this structure. And we're looking for this trade to come down, retest these lows. This one and this one, retest these lows, and maybe even come all the way to the channel line at the bottom there. Right, that is a trade we're looking for. Let's see. We have no idea what it's going to do. We know we always limit our loss, so our loss is above there. If it breaks out, we're out of the trade, right? So will it happen? We don't know. So those were the trades we were looking at very actively this week. Come back to where we were in the US yen. We're going to watch for breakout here. It's either going to break out or it's going to make one more move back up to the top, and then we'll decide for a buy setup. We'll look for a buy setup. Euro Aus. Euro Aus, I'm in this still, and I'm not pretty happy about it because it's coming back very much into my profit. So what I'm looking for now is the same thing as in New Zealand. I want this to go back up here. And if it goes up sharp, I'll stay in the trade. If it makes a corrective structure up, it will make a corrective structure because it is in a correction. So when and if it makes this corrective structure, if I think that there's going to be another move, if we see structurally that there will be another move to the downside, I'll exit the trade and even take that short sell. Because it could be making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then go back up. We know, I'm not sure all of you know those patterns, but we know those patterns. So if we see a pattern that is going to be a bigger corrective structure, I would exit and then look for a re-enter on either from the bottom or from a breakout. So let's see which one we get. It's going to be from a breakout in any case, but the breakout would be on either a lower degree or I'll have to wait for the the bigger breakout before I get in that trade. I do think this is going to go up some more. On the bigger structure, you can see what we're looking at. We're looking at this here. Let me take some of this off. All right. We're looking at this structure. We've got an impulse up. We've got a correction, a very big three-wave correction. That is why if this is going to make a big three-wave correction, it will have to do this and then come down. This is where I'll look for my exit, right? And then see whether we want that trade. If not, they will just make a very small correction here and take off. If they do that, I'll still be in the trade and I'll be looking to add a second trade to that. So which of those two patterns are good? I'm waiting to see whether I get this or whether I get a sharp move up. and then that decision will come. I don't think they're going to take me out here that fast. It's not that easy because I'm very far away, right? I'm trying to keep the trade for longer term, bigger trades up. Euro New Zealand, I'm not in this, but I really wish I could get in this. I'm trying. We tried to get in here, but I missed that. And I'm still waiting. There is a probability that they may make one more down here within this 5-wave structure, or they're going to consolidate to the top here, and they're going to break out. This is a trade I hope all of you get, because it does have very, very big potential to the upside. If it breaks, if we consolidate to the top there, let me just take this out. I'll just move this aside so you can see. If they consolidate to the top here, which means they're not going down very aggressively like they did here, right? Like they did here. But they start to make this consolidation here. If we get a consolidation there, we will all look for this trade. The reason we would look for that trade, because on this daily, it's a very, very big trade. I've been talking about this trade for a while. I think all of you may have seen it. I've posted it at least twice. This is the trade we are looking for. We would first try to get this one here. Don't miss that, because if you get that first piece, when it comes to this bigger trend line, it will make a correction. It may make a long-term correction somewhere along here. And you want to stay in that correction. You don't want to get out of the trade, because the next trade up may be so fast that you can miss it. They tend to do these. See this most fast movement? They will find a reason to do that in some one of the news event. Move it away from the zone very, very fast. So if you're not in, you don't get in. That is why within the structure, we want to get in and we want to hold it. If we get in, we're going to stay in, and we're going to stay in so that if this break happens, we're in the trade. You don't want to miss that trade, right? This chart is there. All of you have a copy. We will keep track of it and see how it develops. Go back to the 4-hour. Right, we're going to see if they give us that move. This move is showing us a lot of potentials that it's already dying out, and there's a likelihood it's going to go. Maybe, and I'm not really worried, if they make this one more move down, we would look for a sell setup on a 1-hour within this trend here. So this is what we're looking for. I'm looking to see whether we're going to make a flag here. And if they start to make a flag here, we would look for one more trade to the downside. This would be a good sell. This wasn't a good sell. I could tell you that wasn't a good sell, because we made attempts to sell that, and my traders keep get taken out of the trade every time. Every time they sold, it turned out to be some kind of a break-even trade. This comes back, take you out for break-even. You try to sell this one, they come back, take you out for break-even. You keep it, they come back, take you out for break-even. So we just leave it. We just got tired of it and said, just leave it alone, because it's turning out to be break-even trades. And then they eventually fall. So we will see if we can get this going down. If it goes smooth, we will get it. If it doesn't go so smooth, in terms of trading, we'll just ignore it, because sometimes you just can't get the move. You're doing the right thing by your strategy, and it comes take you out back for break-even, even though you had some pips up on it. Or the worst, you end up with a loss in it sometimes, and then watch it go, because you still have to protect your trade, right? You don't just leave an open trade. So that is for those majors. Let's go see what else. We looked at Euro Yen already. We're looking at the Euro Chief. Let me see what this. By the way, this may be a very good trade too. Let me show you on a daily. This may be a pretty big trade. Let me see you guys. See this move here? The last time this one went up like that, very slow. They actually give a very big move down, and we are climbing up here very slow. So there is a chance this move will come. Watch it. It may or may not. If this is not coming, they have to break to the upside very big. I don't see that big move to the upside coming, which is why I think New Zealand and Aussie could go into long-term consolidation. And this could actually fall. Rather than get the downside on the Aussie and the New Zealand, you get long-term consolidation in them. A month or two, they're just stuck in that sideways move. And these move. This one move, because this one hasn't been moving for a while. This one hasn't been in this long-term consolidation. And put it in the 1-hour, you can see why we think this pattern is telling us it's going to go. So what you can do is watch if they're making a flag here. And I think we may see something like this here. If we get something like that, we'll be selling. I'll post this one. I'll post a heads up on this one, and you'll see how this goes, right? So there's a very high probability for this trade to the downside. Somebody asked a good question on the Aussie Chief and the New Zealand Cat. So since we're in the Swiss, let's go look at some Swiss trades. That's the Euro Swiss, right? This is the Euro Swiss. Let's see what the dollar Swiss is telling us to remind you what we're looking for in the dollar Swiss. It's right now in the middle of nowhere. It's in the middle of this pattern. And there is nowhere telling whether they're going to come down or they're going to go up. So we probably leave that alone. The Euro Swiss is showing us a sign for downside. Maybe that is because Euro is going to go down. Let's see what Aussie Swiss says. Aussie Swiss daily. Aussie Swiss daily is in this pattern, right? And put it in a 4-hour. This pattern could literally go both ways. If you look at this pattern, they could literally break out to the upside, or they could come down back here, break to the downside. I'm not sure which side they're going to break those yet. So we will have to stay out of that and watch it. There's nowhere you can tell. On shorter time frames, you may get a little move to the upside, but that's very short-term frame. New Zealand Swiss, you're in an uptrend. I think that is pretty clear. You're in an uptrend here. And this may even keep going up because they're making higher highs. So potentially you may look for more upside, and you don't have a sell until it breaks the structure, until it breaks the trend line and consolidate. So for the Swiss trade, the only one that potentially looks downside for us is the Euro Swiss and the Pound Swiss. I especially left the Pound Swiss for last because the Pound Swiss, all of you would remember, we posted this chart a while. Watch for this. This chart is posted in all time frame. You have the daily out, you have the weekly out, you have the monthly out. Watch for this pattern here. And what it's doing right there, they're actually going. So I'm expecting a spike up back here, retest the stop, and then the downside, then the continuation to the downside. So this pattern here is telling us that there's a high probability for a move to the upside first. So it is this kind of looking like a falling wedge pattern for you guys. So if this starts to break, if it continues doing this and then break, the trade will be to the upside. If at some point they break this pattern to the downside first and then consolidate, we'd be looking for more trades to the downside. Right now, we don't have a setup for the sell or for the buy. You just have to wait in it. But potentially, big on the bigger picture, this has a lot of down moves. This thing has a big down move possible to come here. You can see that, right? So let's see. We'll see how it behaves. Right now, it's kind of going sideways. They had a sharp move down, and they're kind of going sideways here. So eventually, they'll probably come down. That may just take us a while for that. And shorter term, we don't really have any traders yet. If they break here, we can look for the up one. So that is for all the Swiss pairs, right? The CAD pairs, we look at the dollar CAD, we look at the Euro CAD, and this is the pound CAD. Very similar structure. We're looking for downside. We got a move, very sharp move. We got a correction. We got a pullback. We're in this one coming. I'm looking for probably one more retest of the low, right? One more impulse to the downside. So would we get that impulse to the downside? Let's go to the 4-hour and see. It's looking like we're going to get it because you can see this trend is going up nicely. Once they break that top, we will start looking for the potential that this thing is going to break out, make a pullback, and then go. This is going to be the trade setup. So we're waiting for that. Don't know. Let's see. You can keep track of this to see when it's going to happen. I think that we're going to get this trade next week, hopefully. So let's go. Somebody wants the Euro Pound. I think we did the Euro Pound. No, we skipped this. Euro Pound, I think we're going to get some more downside here. We're in a big sideways move here, and watch it. It may go up some more, but there's a potential they will come to retest this low before they go up. It's in a big sideways move, and it has to make much more consolidation that it's making right now. Some of you guys may see a head and shoulder pattern here in the making. Watch it. If it breaks, you want this trade down to about the 50 pip, maybe here, and then we're going to start to look for upside, right? Potentially, we could get a trade like this next week to the downside. So you want to watch that. 4-hour. It may be a very nice trade to the downside. Keep an eye. If they break this structure, we're going to look for it. To the upside, I think there's a very short trade. I'm not interested in it. To the upside, they may have a very short trade if they break this structure here. See this? They may have a trade to the top here. It's a short trade. You may want to take it just in case they spike out, and they could spike out of the structure, right? They may spike. You can see this pattern here. They may spike it out and then come back in to go down. So it may turn out to be a very good trade. The trend line has little to do with that, right? The top trend line is just to show me what pattern I'm looking at. It has nothing to do with the fact that they have to stop there. Right? So let's go. We have looked at all the euro trades, all the euro pairs. We're going to look at some of the pound pairs, then we'll look at gold and silver, and we'll leave time for questions, right? Because I'm pretty sure you guys have some questions. This one is a trade in our trading room we're looking at. Once you see that structure, you know we're looking at that trade. It wasn't a big, very super trade, so you know I'm like, you can take it, you can don't take it. The risk to reward is not amazing. We'll have to wait and see what it does in the bigger picture. It's coming to this trend line here, and potentially this one could break to the downside. We see we already broke that top, so potentially this pattern 1, 2, 3 pattern may be over. So you can look for this to come back here. Right? Once it comes back in this area, we will look at this structure to see how it develops. Do we have more upside or not? But the downside may be short-lived because I think we're going to get more upside. So when it comes back in here, the short trade to the downside may be like this. And then we're going to start to get a move back to the top. I think this is the big trade you'd want to look for because this is the trade you had, remember? So if you were in that trade last week, you probably are out of the trade now. If you're in the upside, you're probably out of it once it starts to pull back and break this trend. And you saw the structure that this is aiming for a deeper pullback, and then it's going to continue to go. It still has more upside potential, but wait for this correction to finish. And once this correction is over, there's more upside potential in the trade. Pound New Zealand, stay out of this. Pound Swiss, we already looked at this. Pound CAD, we already looked at that. Pound Yen, we already looked at this. This one is actually, we're still hoping that this comes and break this top, but it's not. It started to go down last week and it's still going down. You can see it's actually breaking out of this structure. So if we're looking, this still doesn't look very impulsive, right? It's not a sharp move down, it's going sideways. So for this structure to change, for us to get into that big sell, remember there was a small sell there. If we're going to go into a long-term sell, we have to let this pull back here. And this will take about 2 days before you can get the trade. So there's no rush to sell this at the bottom. If you jump into that trade at the bottom, you probably get a surprise. If it breaks this structure to the upside, let me just pull this all the way here. If it breaks this to the upside, this is your trade. This would be a wonderful trade to retest that top. And you will have a 1, 2, 3 pattern. A 1, 2, 3 pattern. So this would be the trade we'd like to get next week. It might not be the trade we get, but it will be the trade we'd like to get. We'll just have to wait for corrections there. Could be the Bank of, Bank of Japan, Bank of England, anything could move it. I'm not really focused on what will make it move. I'm focused on the fact that the structure says it will go, and there is going to be enough reason to make it go. I can promise you that. We skipped the EuroCAD. No, I think I did the EuroCAD when I was doing Euro. I came back to it a number of times, and we're looking for a sell setup in it. I actually posted this, and I didn't actually go to this just now because we did it before. I'm telling everybody, watch for the breakout here. If this breaks, you want to be in this trade. Potentially, it's a big trade. Let me show you why I am personally looking at that one for a sell. Personally, I'm interested in this trade. The reason is if you look at the 4-hour charts, many of you were there when we were trying to track this trade up. But the daily, you have to go to the daily charts to see the structure I'm looking at. Is this structure? Maybe the weekly will give you that structure. Let me take some of these things out so we can see it in the weekly. Right? Yep. This is the trade I'm looking at. This whole big correction here. See that? And this should come down back to the low here. So we're trying to sell at the top there so that we can get this trade here. That is this correction here, and we want this trade. Everybody see that? You had an impulse here, you had a triangular pattern here, and you got this. We have an impulse here, we're getting a flat 1, 2, 3, and we're looking for this trade. So you can get a lot of impulse if you get this from this level here, and you bring it down to this. You're talking about 1,000+ pips, which isn't a lot. We have done that before. Go back to the 1 hour. And you need to get the trade from the break of this structure here. And we will try to keep it. Let me go. We'll try to keep it from there all the way to the bottom here. which is like 1,200 pips. It's not the 1,200 pip that is interested. It's the risk to reward you're looking at, because if you're looking at that trade from there and you get in this trade here and you manage to keep the trade all the way to the bottom, and you will be adding a few more trades onto it. Every time it makes a pullback, you go in with another trade. You'll probably have about 10 trades going down, with the first one having a risk to reward of what? Let's put the short position on so you can see. You're selling here, your stop is going to be just above this stop there, and your target would be here. That's the kind of risk to reward you're looking for, right? That's the kind of ratio you want. And you'll probably add a few more trades onto that going down. So those are the trades. That is why I'm very keen about this trade. Personally, I'm looking at this, right? Two things can make this go, either the euro or the CAD. I don't know which one. If it breaks and it gives me a setup, I'm in that trade, right? The risk to reward is good. The potentials of what it shows us in the bigger picture is very nice. Now, if for some reason they just break and they come here and go back up and I get a break-even trade, that is okay. I'm okay with that. I'll take the break-even trade, let them go back up, and I'll make another attempt to sell it again here, right? If I don't get the buy to the upside, they repeat the same thing and go back up, I'll make another attempt to sell it here. One of these is going to go down. It cannot go up forever. This is a very huge structure in the daily. We've already completed a 1, 2, 3 pattern. A 1, a 2, and a 3 pattern. This could go a little more. That's true. I may not get the buys there, but I'll be looking for the sells every time, because the sell has the potential. It's not a buy. The buy does not have a lot of potential. You got to look at the structure, and you can see that the buy does not have a lot of potential. By the way, some of our traders were in sell from there, coming down, right? They actually exit the trade pretty early. They didn't keep it. This was the one you're looking at, right? Move down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They came down. So we have a 1, 2, 3. Look for the downside. That is the trade. So let's see. Let's cross our fingers and hope we get it. Hope that this time it goes right. You trade it, and then you start praying. God, can you make it go this time? You start praying, hoping that this is the one that go, because when you're in the trade, you want it to go. Let's see. We'll see how that behaves. All the rest of them, I think we've gone through most of them. Let me run through before the time is up. Let's go through gold. It's a short-term trade if you want to sell. I told my traders I don't like to sell silver, but if you want to sell silver, sorry, there's a short-term trade to the bottom here. Last week I said to everybody, I think silver will break this trend. And it should. It was going up, and I said, guys, be careful. I had to post this because I get like about 20 messages on TradingView. Please, can you give your view on silver? Can you give your view? I keep replying, guys, it's in a correction, don't buy it. It's in a correction, don't buy it. Can you give your views on silver? Because there's somebody buying silver and gold and TradingView keep posting these charts, buy, buy, buy. And traders keep coming to me, can you give your view? And I keep telling them, don't do anything. Wait until it comes back here. Let them break the structure, come somewhere here, and we'll all look for buys. We will get the buys. Wait for a lower place. And then we start looking at gold, and gold is doing the same thing. I posted this one last week, and I said, when it comes to the top, it's going to go back. I think I posted this to show it's in a corrective structure, guys. Stop panicking. Stop writing nonsense on TradingView. Stop behaving like you know where it's going to go and you know who's telling you what. And stop writing an essay on TradingView about why gold is going to go up, because it's not going up. It's simple. The structure tells you it's not going up. See that? It's not magic. It's not black power. It's not any fancy thing you're doing. We're not voodooing the chart. We're just looking at the chart, and that is how structure behaves. Stop writing essays about why you know that it will go up. It will go up. Wait for the structure to finish. When this structure is finished, we will all be ready to buy. It's just in a correction. Leave it in the correction. Those voodoo pundits who knows why, and they write a whole essay, and like, you know, what the feds are going to do and what Australia will do and what the rest of the world will do and what everybody will do. Like, everybody consults them and they'll tell them what they're going to do. And you should be buying gold because they know it's going to go up, right? And they write some very, very fancy topics at the top. You know, I read some last week and it was good humor, right? You don't know what it's going to do. Just wait for the structure. When it's finished, it's going to go. It's that simple. Put 2 lines and wait. You put 2 lines like that and go to sleep. If you know what you're doing, you can put 2 lines and wait. If you don't know what you're doing, you're going to put 2 wrong lines, and you're probably going to get yourself in trouble. Look at the copper one. Copper, somebody just gave me a heads up on copper, called me and said, you probably want to look at the copper. I think there is a good pattern in the making. And from TradingView, they actually sent me a message. And I was like, why this guy is asking me to do copper? I never did it. And then I went to the chart. I was like, oh, this is a good setup, actually. The guy has a point, right? So I'll post it. I gave him, and he was pretty happy. This was the trade. Buy the bottom here. The risk to reward in that was so amazing, right? You just had to put a stop under the low here, and you had to buy the breakout here. And this is your trade, right? So it's going to consolidate, right? This one didn't go up in a straight line. This one didn't come down in a straight line. That one didn't go up in a straight. So if you're in the trade, you can do two things: either take your profit now or live through one of these pullback and then watch it go again, right? It will not go in a straight line. So it depends on your trading psychology. You want to live through it, or you want to take profit and then re-enter, right? Because it will make pullback. You see, this one went up in a number of pullbacks. This came down in a huge pullback here. This one went up in a number of pullbacks. You'll get pullbacks. That's part of trading. It depends on you. You want to live through it or not, right? So when it gets to the top here, then we'll decide what to do with it. We'll see whether it breaks out or whether it pull back. So what else? I think that is enough for the charts. You have a good idea. I'll be posting out some charts on TradingView. Please, I want to thank all of you for your support. I know you guys are very supportive. The 156 people in here are the people like that keeps clicking the likes for me. And a lot of people who are not here also keep clicking the likes. It's good. Most times the likes, like, you know, I'll be honest with you, the likes help the charts to be on top. And that is why I said click the likes in it, because other traders get to see the charts. In terms of wanting the likes to stay on top, for me, it's less important, because I have 130,000 likes. You can do anything with it. I really don't need it, right? It's less important in terms of that. What is important is that people get to see the charts. Aussie CAD, let's look at Aussie CAD. Aussie CAD is in that big sideways move on the daily. You have to wait for it to break out. Unless it breaks out, it's not going to give you the trade. So let's look at it in the daily. It's in this big sideways move here. Let me just put it for you. And it's not breaking out, right? Like all the CADs that I show you, there's a chance that this one will break out, and there's a 90% chance that this will break out to the downside. I mean, you don't have to know. You have an impulse, you got a sideways, you're coming down. Wait for this trade. Just wait for it. When it breaks, you will get the trade. It will break. Eventually, these structures break to the downside. If it doesn't break to the downside, you don't lose anything, right? You didn't lose anything. You just wait for it. If it breaks, you're in the trade. If it doesn't break, let it go back up. I'm not interested in these little moves to the upside, because, you know, look at the way that thing is going up. Look at this. You want to stay in that trade? Anybody who tells you they buy that and they want to stay in that trade is probably lying to you. This thing is being in days to go up there. When it starts to fall, it is going to go pretty fast. So when you get the downside, it is going to be very, very fast, right? It's that easy. You don't want to be in the middle of this mess. You want to wait for when it starts to shoot in the opposite direction, then you're in the trade, right? Okay, let's get some questions now. We can take questions for about 10-15 minutes, and then we'll call it a day. Let me see. How important is divergence to what you do? Very important. No more charts. Somebody's asking for Mexican, no more charts. Please check Aussie CAD. Okay, we did that already. What else? Okay, great. If you're learning Elliott Wave, that is wonderful. All my traders still have to read the book. By the way, on a short notice, a very short thing, all this stuff that you need to know, the basic stuff on trading, you don't have to pay anybody to teach you that. It's free. And I would advise you not to go to some other site and subscribe to get it. Just go to a few sites. Babypip.com will give you all the necessary basic stuff you need to know. That's a good starting point, babypip.com, if you're very new, or if you know somebody who's new and want to go to babypip.com, you will get all that stuff for free. Read the Elliott Wave book, read whatever other book you want to do, look at other free webinars, you will learn things. And when you want to really master the charts, when you understand what trading is about, and you want to learn a specific method of analyzing the charts, you can find yourself a mentor, because you will need a mentor. You will need somebody who has mastered that specific way of trading, and then you can join them. Until you've spent a year going around and searching and learning all the basics, you should not take any course from anybody. And none of my traders are having less than a year experience in my room. That's a qualification to get into my trading room and to get into my course. You have to have a year experience. Which book should you read to learn Elliott Wave? The Elliott Wave Principles. It's free on elliottwave.com, or you can buy the hard copy if you want. Or oversized trading. A good question, by the way. Have you caught yourself doing emotional trades or oversized trade last year? No, I have not caught myself doing emotional trade, but I've done oversized trading a lot, and I'm still doing it. And there's a reason for that. There's a specific reason for that. I'm training myself to do something else, and I've took some very big losses, right? Because I'm training myself to handle huge lot size. I have a specific agenda, and I want to move forward from just being a trader that handles small accounts to be handling huge accounts. And to do that, you have to have a good psychology to handle big sums of money going up and down against you. And it's not easy, I can tell you, right? It's not easy. It's pretty much tough sometimes when you're 10 standard lots and you're not used to that kind of pullback or drawback or losses, and you're trying to protect it, and you're putting your stop sometimes a little too early. You don't want to stick to the rules when you have that big size. And that's something all of you, if you're going as a trader, you would learn in time. It will come. I'm training myself for that. So yes, I do over trade in my account. I found that to be a problem, but that's part of what I know would be a problem, because I'm not using the standard rule that I'm teaching all my people who are training their account for themselves. Remember, I'm trading an account for a specific reason. This account I'm trading is to actually see whether we can do this in 2 years and whether we can use it to do a hedge fund setup. So we need 2 or 3 years of not small tradings, 1, 2 standard lots. We need to show that we can handle huge sums of money as well. All right, I personally need to show that I am comfortable with huge sums of money up and down, and then I'm capable of trading other people huge sums of money. So, yep, that's something my traders know I'm doing. What is the something wrote the site? elliottwave.com. You're asking for the book, right? I am locked in a long on Aussie, New Zealand. Oh, that will be a long time. Well, you may not be very long in it now. Depends where your stop is. If you're locked in and you're long term on it, you may want to put the stop under the very, very low on the daily that I show you. And right now, I think you have a very good chance of it going up soon. Okay, yep, some people are already going. Yes, you guys have a pleasant weekend. If you have to leave, let me take some more questions and then I'll go. Yes, I have a mentorship program. We have an ongoing course right now. And yeah, somebody post the site for you. That's a BPIP site. Somebody can post the elliottwave.com site for you too if you want. Right? That would be great. Hi, Julia. I need you. I'm not sure what that was to, but I'm supposing it's to something I said. You said not to pick top or bottoms of the trade, but you had different views in the Euro-CAD pair. You're looking for a sell. No. I think, Mr. Elliott, you're becoming a troll, because when trolls come in, they don't listen. That's the problem. When people come in here with an agenda to troll, they don't listen. Let me show you the trade. Please, I'll show you the trade. I hope I don't have to remove you from the room, so I'll show you the trade one last time. Do you see me picking the top? I never said sell it here. I said wait for an impulse down. Wait for a correction. If you read this, if you read the post, what it said, it broke the uptrend line. We're not picking tops. I'll show you what is picking tops if you don't know what is picking. How come you write Mr. Elliott next to your name and you're talking such crazy stuff like picking tops when you see the trade that I put? You're supposed to be the first one to identify this trade. You're supposed to be the first one to know what I did here if you're Mr. Elliott, right? This is what I said. Wait for this and then take the breakout. You're looking for 1, 2, 3. It's not picking top. You have no idea what you're talking about, right? So please, if you have an agenda to troll, you're in the wrong place. Let's go on. Thanks. Do you study EA? No, I don't use them. I think they're a waste of time. People create those EAs to sell you stupidness. Where you detect detect next support in Aussie. Yep, thank you for that. I don't detect support anywhere. I just said there's nothing like support in the resistance, and you come ask me the question where I see support. At what point do you identify the structure as a corrective or impulsive one? That's a very good question, but to answer that, like, how do you depends what is an impulse and what is a correction? It's all based on the structure. This is an impulse, this is a correction, you're looking for another impulse down, right? It's a basic way you look at patterns. That means I have to teach you all the patterns. By the way, if you read ElliottWave.com, that should help you. If you go to read the book, the Elliott Wave Theory, that should help you with that question, because I'm not sure how to answer that question in one single phrase. This is an impulse, this is a correction, and this is an impulse. I don't want to go into the details of giving you the rules we are using in our trading room, but I can tell you this is what you're looking for, right? Basically, how I identified in the trade, that's something I teach my traders for 6 weeks. And in the 7th week, they still ask me some questions on it. So I can't answer that in 1 week for you, in one question for you, right? At what point, a corrective structure is a corrective structure. There's no point at which you identify that. There's the general structure you look at. Do we need one or more computer? I don't know how much computers you need. That's up to you. You can use 100 computers if you want. That's not a question for the webinar. You know, what do you consider oversized trading? You have to have a good trading management, money management, structure of trading. That's something we did a whole webinar on. What's money management and how you manage your money. So let's go. I don't see the link to the free Elliott Wave prints. It's on. You have to go and register on ElliottWave.com. You will get it. Nice. What is it? I don't see the link. Oh, that's the same one. What indicator is good for detecting divergence? There's no indicator. Use the MACD. Any reference to Elliott Wave rather than babypip.com? Babypip.com is not for Elliott Wave. I don't know. You guys have to listen carefully. Maybe I'm not so good at speaking in English, right? My English is not so clear. Babypip.com will give you all the basics you need to know about trading. The basics, the very basics things you need to know. It will help you to understand what is going on in the trading world in terms of how people speak in the trading world and all of that. What is this? What is that? What is the name of them and terminologies and all of that, right? If you want to learn about the Elliott Wave, you read the book, the Elliott Wave Principles. It's free on ElliottWave.com. Basic knowledge we don't teach in our course. Nobody should be teaching you, but you should not pay for basic knowledge. It's free, right? Basically, when you come into our course, you have to read the Elliott Wave book before you join. We are not teaching you Elliott Wave in my course. That's not what we're doing. We're teaching you how to identify all those stuff on the charts. We're practically training you to identify them in the charts. That's a whole different story, right? That is a big difference. We're training you how to identify it. You can read the book, and most of you will read the book, you'll be a bit confused. And then you will go in the chart and you can't figure out head from tail, right? You can't figure out the DOM in the book. The book was great, but you can't see anything like that in the chart. And that is where we come in as a mentor. That is where we come in. We help you do that, identify. We're not going to give you knowledge that is free out there and, charge you for that. About knowledge, of course, you have to read the book. You have to get basic knowledge at least for a year, and then you can, you're in the course. I thought somebody is asking the question, sorry. About the knowledge, right? Okay, yep. That's great. Thank you for that. Elliott Wave book, remember there's like 10 more messages between your 2 messages. I just happened to put them together now. Yep, somebody just put the book out there for you. Great. Thank you for that, Victor. Yep, Victor just give you guys. What else questions? Let me look through all the questions and see where it is. Nifty will post. I'll post an update on Nifty later. Can you quickly cover your expectations for oil? Okay, let's look at oil for everybody. Oil, I think, is in consolidation going down. We think there's going to be more downside on that. Yep, it's coming down. There was a sell set up here for my traders in the trading room. I said you can sell here. See that? If they sold it, they're in the trade still. And now they're going to be careful. Now that we broke that low, they'll start moving their stops. There's a potential for it to go and break this low. But you want to protect what you have already. Move your stops and wait and see. Don't... No, I don't lose my temper. That's the last thing I ever do. I don't lose my temper. I don't have a good taste for people who troll. That's my only. If you ask all the guys who know me good in my trading room, they will tell you I don't lose my temper. I'm a very humorous guy. I don't lose my temper. Ask anybody who knows me. But I know some people have a gender when they come to troll, and you can recognize it by the way they write and what they write. And people go in my charts and write nonsense. I don't have a good taste for them, and I'll rather dismiss them very fast. I will do it very blunt and very fast because I have no time to waste on that. My time has value. I've already told you guys, you should add value to your time. It's important you do that. Yep, let's go on. Should one rather close a New Zealand short that is 40 pips in profit? If you're 40 pips only in profit, that's a little. You probably got in very low on that. Let me see. I have much more than 40 pips in profit, so I'm not worried. If you have 40 pips in profit, you probably got in on this structure. Let me see where 40 pips with you. That's a very small one. You probably got in somewhere here. Yep, you're 40 pips from the top there. You want to put that to break even. I wouldn't say close the trade because I don't trade like that, right? Depends if that was your aim. If that was the profit you're looking for in terms of your risk to reward, you should take it. If that is not the profit you're looking for in terms of your risk to reward, where you think your target is, move it to break even and you can't lose. Move it to plus 5 pips and see what happens if it breaks through the structure. I don't think it's going to break through that structure now. So that's a decision you have to make, right? Natural gas, I I just do oil. You'll watch it in the recording. Oil is literally going to go down some more. You can keep your eyes on that. Should one rather, that is your New Zealand, I just good thing. Okay, guys, I think we have gone through all the questions that I can see. I'm running through the rest of them. Nothing new is happening there. Gold and silver, I already gave you. They're still in consolidation. As soon as I see that the gold and silver is making a move for the upside, I will update my charts and post them on TradingView. Okay, I don't see any more question that is important. So, okay, guys, they're just people repeating their same questions that we've answered already, right? Okay, guys, thank you for coming. Have a wonderful weekend, all of you. You're great. You're wonderful guys. See all of you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.